Hello, hola, welcome to episode 29 of Wine with Wanda on Instagram Live. So as always, thank you for tuning in. I know this time of day, the Instagram Live is going wild, but thank you for being here with me. So I'm going to bring our guest on in a moment, but first I'm going to do a little introduction. So today we're traveling with our wine glasses to one of my favorite places, Somontano, Spain. Now you might be going, ¿Dónde? Where? Somontano? Where is that? What is that? Well, it may not be as well known yet, and I say yet, as Rioja, Rías Baixas, Ribera del Duero. But for me, and I'm not alone in this opinion, I think it's one of Spain's most exciting wine regions. I went there for the first time in 2017, fell in love with the wines, the people, the landscapes. And I've been there a total of 3 times in 3 years, and I can't wait to get back there. It's just a wonderful place. So to answer the question of where is Somontano, it is in the northeast of Spain. It's on the border of the Pyrenees. It shares a natural border with France. And that region has a really rich and long winemaking history, and is actually known for the quality and diversity. Unlike some other regions, Somontano isn't linked to just one grape. So they really grow a lot of things very well, and they make some beautiful wine. So today we're going to explore a bit of that Somontano magic with a very special guest. We have winemaker Jesús Artajona Serrano joining us, and he's with the winery ENATE. So ENATE was founded in 1992. It's fairly new, but really one of the ambassadors of the region. They're modern, they're environmentally friendly, and art is kind of at the core of what they do. And they say boldly, it's the place where art and wine become one. And when you go there, they have a gorgeous art gallery. And when you buy their wines, the beautiful labels are designed, they are adorned with art from some very important contemporary artists. So today, I'm going to bring Jesús on in a moment. We're going to taste 2 wines. So we're going to try this ENATE Crianza, which is a blend of Tempranillo and Cabernet. Retails for about $15. And then this is one that I know has a lot of fans. When I said I was doing this talk, saw some comments. Many people love this wine. So this is the ENATE 2019 vintage of their Chardonnay 234. And this retails for $14. So I'm going to bring on our guest now, Jesús. And let's see what happens. Let's hope it works. Waiting, 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 always waiting. Hi, Robin. Jesús.
Hola.
Hola, how are you?
Fine. Delighted
Great
to be
to
with
see
you.
you.
Me too. It's a pleasure to meet you.
I don't know if you remember that I visited your winery about 3 years ago. I was with a group of other...
Of course. You are unforgettable.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, how are things in one of my favorite places, Somontano? How is life right now?
Well, it's a fantastic place. It's true. I live here since 92, nearly 30 years. And yeah, people ask me, where are you born? I don't say I was born in Zaragoza, where I was born.
Okay.
Really. I say I was born in Somontano because this is my life. And nowadays, my everything is here. My children's, my friends, everything is here. It's a fantastic place to live. Really.
It really is. I wish more people would know about, the Somontano region because it's so special. So you're from Zaragoza. How did you end up in the wine world? Did you have winemakers in your family, or how did you become a winemaker?
Well, in Spain, there was a very deep root tradition of drinking wines during the meals. And I live, so in my family, always wine was a common beverage and during the meals. But also, I spent much time of my childhood between Zaragoza, the city, and a small village where my grandfather was a grape grower and also beekeeper.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He was incredible. He was all around him were bees, but without attacking him, without any protection. Fantastic.
Amazing.
So I was 7, 8 years, and I helped my grandfather. I was with him. I spent fantastic times with him, and well, it's true. He was a very small grape grower, right?
Mm-hmm.
And after that, um, well, I, I graduate myself from Zaragoza University in chemistry, and I thought that I want to be chemist in the future.
Oh, okay.
But one of my best friends played guitar in a musical band at the university. So we were invited to go to a festival in Montguillon in France. Montguillon is a city 150 kilometers north Bordeaux. We met a couple of girls, beautiful, and we fell in love with them.
I like this story. This is juicy.
So I was 20 at those times, and I decided that to be together, one of the best solutions was to go to Bordeaux, the heart of red wine in France, to study winemaking, enology. And that's what I did. And I spent fantastic time in France for 3 years. So in reality, I am in wine a little bit by tradition, but also because of love.
Yes, you know, I always say most winemakers I found, there is a love story somewhere in there. So I'm so glad you shared yours. So ENATE started in '92, and I think you've been there since the beginning, correct?
Yeah, and the first vintage was '92. In fact, I am there in ENATE since the beginning, since
From the beginning.
So we have made till now 29 harvests. That's right, 29. Next year will be the 30 harvest.
Great. So I talked about it a little. Maybe you can explain, you know, so many wine regions in Spain are tied to one grape. You know, Rioja, we think Tempranillo. Rías Baixas, we think Albarino. But when we talk about Somontano, your identity is that you grow so many things so well and can make beautiful wine. So what is it about the region that gives it that capacity?
First of all, Somontano is a very small region. Just 4,000 hectares. That's really small. Rioja is 80,000, or La Mancha is 500,000 hectares. So we are a very tiny area in north of Spain, as you said in the beginning. And since the beginning, we have been known as an emerging region specialized in international varieties. So we grow Cabernet, Sauvignon, Merlot, Syrah in reds mainly. We have also varieties from the area like Moristel or Paraleta, but the production is quite low for these varieties. So we are more on the international branch than into the tradition. And well, nowadays in Somontano you find 32, 33 wineries, but most of them are small, very, very small. Familiar.
So tell me a bit about, you know, I know ENATE is kind of this fusion of wine and art. So tell me a bit about the winemaking style, the philosophy for ENATE. Yeah.
Well, you know, I am focused on, of course, the most important thing above all is to have balance and elegant wines. That's the most important thing. So, for example, we try to avoid over-ripened grapes in reds, because if that, the wines can be flabby without, without nerves, without crisp acidity. And in whites, we prefer, we grow Chardonnay and Gewürztraminer mainly. We have one Chardonnay we are going to taste afterwards, but also a barrel fermented Chardonnay, much more complex with a lot of complexity, lactic notes, and also Gewürztraminer pure, the floral grape from Alsacia. So in those white varieties, which is important in this area because we benefit from the influence of the Pyrenees, with the breeze, the cool breezing from Pyrenees and also from the river, is to preserve acidity, to have acidity, to have freshness, but also longevity, because as you know, acidity is important for the freshness in the mouth feeling, but also to have more aging potential in the wines. So I am focused, as I tell you, on balance, on texture, on length, on aging potential. Well, I think more or less is what every winemaker in the world are looking for. And some years we got, not all.
Well, you know, it's been so exciting because, I came to visit ENATE, I think it was 2017, and I started seeing your wine, you know, before everything shut down, appear in more places in New York. And one in particular I've seen quite often, the Chardonnay 234 is really gaining some fans here in the U.S.
Oh,
so
sure.
should we start with this one?
Right. Fantastic.
All right. So this is, I have the 2019, and as I said earlier, in the U.S. it retails for about $13.99. And again, we talked about the art kind of being an important part of the ENATE identity. So this label was designed by artist Pepe Cerda, and really colorful and beautiful. But let's talk about the wine.
Hey, one thing, Wanda, if you look on the label, you see that the label was made the 14th July 97. Can you see? Can you appreciate? Just on the bottom of the painting, 14 July here is the date where the label has been made.
Okay.
I tell you that.
See that. Yeah.
So the label was made 97, but the first harvest of 234, Chardonnay 234, was 96. It means that the wine was released 1 year after harvest. So this is the first message I want to give you, is that the ENATE Chardonnay 234, of course, is a white wine. It's a young white wine, but with that benefits from aging in bottle when you have good storage conditions, of course. So it's a wine that has alcohol, that has acidity, well balanced, well integrated, and that led us to enjoy the wine after 2-3 years.
Wonderful. And why 234? Where does that name come from? Remind me.
Yeah, because in our short history, I say short history because 29 vintage is nothing in world wine. Our first Chardonnay was the barrel fermented Chardonnay. Look, I have the bottle here. This is the barrel fermented Chardonnay.
Yes, I remember that one.
With etiquette of Antonio Saura, a fantastic Chardonnay. So this Chardonnay was the first to be released in ENATE. So when we decide to grow another Chardonnay, we have the possibility to say, okay, this is the barrel fermented Chardonnay, and as 234 is not barrel fermented, it's stainless steel fermented, we are going to say the Chardonnay stainless steel fermented. But it lacks from glamour. There are no history, right? And all the grapes in 96 to make this Chardonnay came from a single vineyard called ENATE 234. That's the name of the first vineyard. Of course, today, as we have tasted the success very soon with this wine, we have arranged other wineries around the original 234, and we have 233, 128, something like that. But the name comes just because it was a single vineyard in the beginning.
Exactly. Well, I have to say the aroma is so captivating.
I like this word, captivating.
It really is. It's enchanting, encantador.
Encantador. Flattering wine.
Yes. But it really is. You know, I always have a friend who's been a wine writer for much longer than I have. And she always says, you know, the world doesn't need another Chardonnay. And I say, well, if it's a good Chardonnay, we can always use another Chardonnay, because I think we take Chardonnay for granted sometimes and we forget how wonderful it can be.
You know, there is a fine-tuned interaction between climate, soil, grape, and handling, the human factor. So Chardonnay is just one small piece of this global concept of wine. So now it's another possibility.
Yeah.
So we try, as you see, the aroma is very fresh with green apple, peach, apricot.
They're really fresh, just
Fresh.
bounces out of the glass, but not
Yeah,
overwhelming, but very seductive.
exactly. Captivating. Yeah, there are slight hints of pineapple, little bit exotic like guava, the grapefruit. Well, this is 19. Tomorrow we are going to bottle for the first day the 20. And
Oh, okay.
today, this morning, we have tasted both wines to see the difference, because even if there is only 1 year difference, yeah, you can see the details, the nuance of both the wines. And of course, 20 is much more crispy, it's much more with brisk acidity, and this is more mature, more with more balsamic aromas after 1 year, more honey also. I think it's a very rich Chardonnay, and
Yeah.
you will see in the palate it has also density and good balance between acidity and alcohol.
Mm. Yeah, you know, it's rich, but that acidity keeps it
That's right.
very lifted, but it's really round. It's mineral as well on the finish. There's a nice minerality.
Yeah, sometimes, you know, minerality is a word of difficult translation. Not because English or Spanish, because translation into the sense. But
Yeah.
sometimes minerality is associated with unripened grapes, which is not the case, of course. But I understand what you mean by this, because it's true that this is a refreshing wine, and this acidity we want to keep. In fact, the barrel fermented Chardonnay undergoes malolactic fermentation, but this does not go on malolactic
Ah,
fermentation,
okay.
because we want to preserve the malic acid to give this sensation of minerality, of freshness, and also longevity, as I told you in the beginning. Yeah.
There's a little salinity as well that's very subtle, but I like it.
Saltiness, yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Just
it's
a little
true.
bit.
Yeah.
So for folks just joining, I'm going to show the bottle again. So this is the ENATE Chardonnay 234 2019 vintage. I'm telling you, for $14, you really get a lot of wine. I mean,
Yeah.
in terms of coming from a special place, very thoughtful winemaking, beautiful bottle. What do you like to eat with this, Jesus? Do you have some favorite pairings with the Chardonnay?
I like to pair the Chardonnay with joy, with passion, with conviviality. Of course, I know this is not the answer you are looking
But I
for.
like that answer. You're keeping me on my toes. I like that, Jesus.
No, but it's true that, of course, you can pair quite well with seafood, raw sauces, or even cook crabs, clams. I don't know. Well, even with rice, or sometimes with Asia dishes, you know, with curry or
Yeah.
very, very spicy dishes. But for me, as I told you, the most important thing is to have the good partner in front of you in a good ambience. So conviviality is the most important thing to enjoy the wine. That's the most important thing.
I
Your
like that.
food is important, of course, but if you have the right partner, the right people around you in the right moment, just enjoy. It doesn't matter if you don't make the official pairing for Chardonnay, for captivating wines. Don't worry.
Absolutely. Well, this wine is really captivating and charming, and I'm in good company right now drinking it with you. So
Yeah.
cheers.
Cheers. Thank you. And you know, also, if you, I know that you come to Spain quite often or often. if you are going to ask ENATE Chardonnay 234, is a bit long. I can tell you, once 2 years ago, I was in Barcelona with my wife and a couple of friends, and in a Brazilian restaurant in the center of Barcelona.
Oh, okay.
And on the wine list, I saw ENATE Chardonnay 234. And I asked, well, it was a restaurant with a lot of foreign people, European, and the waiters were very young from Brazil. Yeah. And I asked the people, the waiter, I want a 234, please. And I thought he didn't understand me, but he brought a bottle of Chardonnay ENATE 234.
Ah, okay.
So in some way, 234 has become a brand in Spain, at least. Of course,
I love it.
In United States, for sure, is not so well known like here.
Yeah.
Normal. But
so I'm going to start ordering 234. Dos, tres, cuatro.
Dos, tres, cuatro.
So should we move to the vino tinto?
Yes, of course. Crianza.
So everyone, 15. This is the Crianza. This is 2015 Tempranillo, which we all know, one of the most important grapes in Spain, and blended with Cabernet Sauvignon.
Exact. Well, Tempranillo, as you know, is the most important variety in Spain, for sure, in Rioja, Ribera del Duero. And I think Tempranillo is 70% in Crianza and 30% is Cabernet Sauvignon.
Okay.
They complement so well, it's fantastic because Tempranillo has a bunch very, very, very big, and Cabernet has thicker skins. So, for example, to avoid bitterness for Cabernet, you need a lot of sunlight exposure of the grapes. Tempranillo is the contrary. It prefer more shaded fruit. And when of course, we harvest at different times. Tempranillo, Tempranillo comes from the Spanish word temprano.
Early.
Temprano is early. And the name is Tempranillo because Tempranillo is one of the earliest grapes to be picked up. That's the name. And Cabernet comes later, 10 days, 2 weeks later.
Okay.
So usually we don't ferment together because times are not okay.
Yeah, the time is not.
Yeah, and for aging, we prefer 2 different marriage. Tempranillo is married with American wood, richer in coconut, in more spices aromas, and Cabernet Sauvignon marries with French wood.
Ah, interesting.
I think things are better like this, with 2 different, the French and the American wood are very different in taste. And it's like a pairing also, the pairing between wine and oak, and to have a well integrated oak into the wine is a little bit tricky because it depends on the people. Some people prefer wines with more oaky characters, others prefers more fruity, more driven fruit aromas. It's also a little bit tricky, yeah. And the total time the whole time in cask is 9 months, 9-10 months, depending on the more or less.
How many vintages of this have you made? How long have you been making this blend at ENATE?
This one we make since the beginning.
From the beginning, okay.
So from the beginning, we make the barrel fermented Chardonnay. We saw in the beginning this one, barrel fermented Chardonnay, and also Crianza. The Crianza.
Okay. And the blend is always roughly that 70-30. I mean, I imagine it might vary from year to year, but roughly the same each time.
Wanda, though these 2 wines are wines that I call democratic wines.
Okay.
Democratic, I could say affordable wines.
No, absolutely.
That's what I say. But not democratic, not only in the sense of money, but also in the sense that they are very approachable, even for new tasters, for people that are coming into the wine. And yeah, I think in both cases, we try to have wines easy to drink, soft in Crianza, with round, velvety tannins, not aggressivity at all. That's very important, and I think. And for this style of democratic wines that are for every consumer, it's important to keep the style year after year.
Absolutely.
In the big wines, when you have wines, you know, of big quality or highest premium wines, you can change the style in function of the characteristic of the vintage, because people, the consumers, are ready to recognize the special footprint of the vintage. But in those more democratic wines, it's important, yeah, to keep the style, not going like that in a vintage.
No, that makes sense. That's a really good point. Yeah, I think we all have those wines that bring us comfort, that when you reach for it, you want it to feel familiar and not too different, you know?
Sure.
Comfort wine.
That's right.
But the nose is really interesting on this because it's not just fruit. There's some other things happening here on the nose.
You have
very complex.
You have the coconut, you have the spice, you have this hint of a smoky character.
Definitely.
Caramel. All those aromas, caramel comes from oak. Caramel, it comes from cellulose when the staves are toast bent, and you have furfura, you have vanilla, which comes from the lignin of the oak, and those characters that impairs the wood, I think, are in a good balance with fruit. I mean, it's oaky, it's smoky, but not too much. It's just,
yeah, it's not overwhelming.
Because sometimes if a wine tastes too much to oak, to vanilla, there is no it's unbalanced, and this is not what people are looking for. People are looking for elegance, for balance. Balance is always very important in life. Not
it
only
is
to be balanced.
Yeah. It's true. In life, it's a little harder right now. So if we can get the balance in our wine, it makes us feel better about other things. But I'm ready to sip it now. Kind of velvety. It's juicy.
Juicy, yeah. Round,
not overwhelmingly oaky. You're right. It's very, it's just kind of cradling the wine, but it's not smothering it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Very round, velvety, is medium long. It's a easy wine. It's a wine easy to pair, easy to enjoy. That's the point.
It is, yeah. You know what I love about wines like this? I always say I like those wines that I can share with friends who maybe aren't wine geeks, who just want a nice glass. And then for your friends who know more, they taste it and go, something interesting here. You know, and it kind of starts revealing the story of where it's from and what the varieties are. And it's really, I think it's a nice introduction to Somontano and ENATE.
Sure. Yeah, because sometimes the wines that are richer, that are more complex, are a little bit difficult for new people, for new tasters.
Absolutely.
So it's much better to begin with a easy drink wine like this, like Crianza or 234, than going directly to Syrah or Merlot, wines that we produce. That's why I call.
Yes, I remember the Merlot. I love that the wine is called Merlot. It's not a typo on the label. It's such a Merlot. It's like a Merlot.
It's 50% Merlot, 50% Merlot.
I love it. Is there anything else that you're experimenting with? Any variety that you're like, you know what? I think this grape would do well in Somontano. Is there anything you're playing around with?
Well, nowadays, more than with varieties, we are focused with the global warming, the greenhouse gases, which is important nowadays. I mean, try to make a winemaking and also a viticulture sustainable. And to be sustainable, you have to be economical, viable. You have to be to take care of social equity, a lot of things. And I say that, but I think at the same time that sustainability is not a virtue; it's a duty today. So that's what we are looking for. For example, we have now plants at nearly 800 meters in altitude. which is really a top figure. And usually the altitude in Somontano is between 300 and 500.
Okay.
So to fight against this global warming, it's important to grow grapes at higher altitudes. That's important. And well, I think all of us, we have also to make understand people that wine is not just alcohol. You know, wine is a conviviality beverage. And of course, alcohol has the dark side and the bright side. The dark side is the harmful effects on social medical activities. Mm-hmm. But there are the positive effects of a healthy diet, for example, of this joy or celebration aspect of wines. So we have to make also the right communication to young people because when I began in the interview, I said in the 70s, when I was a child, there was a very deep root tradition with wine during the meals, and now this trend is a little bit lesser. So we have to come back to put the wine into the important role in our society.
That's absolutely. It. Well, you're not just a winemaker. I think you're a bit of a philosopher and a poet as well, Jesus.
No, please, no. I prefer to stay just a simple winemaker. I'm happy.
Well, you did co-author some books as well, so you're being very modest. I read that you co-authored some books that were translated in other languages about wine, so don't be shy.
No, I see.
But it's true what you said. The other beautiful thing about wine, I always say, through my love of wine, I've learned more geography and history than I ever paid attention to when I was a student in school. And also meeting people that I never would have met.
This is
connection.
That's right. This is the most important thing, is meeting people, is being happy, having opportunities, as you said, to travel and to discover things that is very difficult anyway. I always say the people that we are involved in wine, we are privileged people.
We are.
We have a job that we like, and we have a job that make happy to the others. That's fantastic.
It's true. It's true. Well, was there anything else you would like people to know about ENATE or Somontano that you just feel is a really important part of the message that maybe we didn't cover?
Well, I need 2 hours to translate. There are many things, the easiest way is just to talk like we have made today. And talking, you discover new messages that are important to give the people. But now I think, and also having the opportunity now is impossible, but having the opportunity to come here to discover the nature, the landscape, that's also a fantastic opportunity because wines, you love the wines when you know the people that are behind. And also behind good wines usually are passionate people. And that's important to have the opportunity to discover.
That is so true. Well, like I said in the intro, I've been to Somontano 3 times. I fell in love with it the first time. So I've appointed myself like an unofficial ambassador for Somontano. Wow. I really love the region. I love the wines. I love the people. I'm going to show the bottles again for those of you just joining. So really, ENATE is one of the flagship wineries of the region. And like you said, when we're able to visit again, it's stunning. The art gallery, the property, and the wines are beautiful. So there's art for your eyes and art in your glass.
So cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.
You are invited to come to see, to know the region. This is a fantastic region, Somontano. Right.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Jesus. Until we meet again.
Pleasure. Thank you for your invitation, really. And is the 4th time to Somontano is waiting. So remember.
Yes. I can't wait. Hopefully next year.
Yeah, before next year will be difficult, but next year, I suppose things will be better for everybody.
Espero que sí. Espero que
Esperamos
sí.
que sí. Eso es.
Well, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, ENATE. This is a great way to start my day. So I really enjoyed it.
Wow. Thank you very much.
Ciao. Bye-bye.
Till the next time.
You
Ciao.
too.